Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Lumen Model UN training series. We're going to discuss research strategies today. With me, I have Ehsan Mohammed. Our first thing that we'll be talking about is why even research is important, and I think Ehsan should answer that.
Because it really helps in your MUN performance. Before that though, one important disclaimer that research strategies and all of the tips we give in this video do largely vary depending on who you are as a delegate, your committee, your topic. So just take this as a guideline and you can adjust it according to your own unique style. But there are a couple of reasons why research is particularly important. Not only does it help you with your country stance, your involvement, figuring out unique solutions, but it also helps with you ensuring you have a much better perception in the unmods, actually getting far more attention, far more trust of the committee, insofar as they see you as a leader then. And I think the last thing here is that it just really helps you stand out. If there's a strict comparison between two delegates, one which has decent solutions, but one which can back the solutions with precedent, with well-researched facts, it just really helps a lot. So research is for sure very important.
When talking about approaching research, I think study guide is the most important tool. I have always used that in any GA, in any EcoSoc committee. Once you have the study guide, your first idea should be to highlight every subtopic, to highlight every key issue, and to highlight every stakeholder. That's how I go about it, and I suggest that you go about it as well. Once you're done doing it, the second tip is to use your karma as your source for all the moderated caucuses. Every question will give you at least 2 to 3 mods, and I think that's something the committee would follow as well, and it will help you track your research. Once you're done answering all of that, essentially you're done with your research.
And
anything?
Yeah, so just in case like you start your research before the study guide's uploaded, perhaps it's a little late, you can still start building some contextual background information. And perhaps the best way to do that is to first try to just find some interactive YouTube videos on that particular topic. YouTube is generally a good resource and a very easy way to absorb information. But then just trying to find other study guides from other MUNs, perhaps finding resolutions or minutes of meetings that the UN or other bodies might have already published regarding the said topic, or any sort of report that they've published. So existing literature can really help. And if you don't have the karma, that is the questions the resolution must answer in your study guide, most of them will. But in the event you don't, you can just try to break down the topic by yourself. Try to think of different distinct aspects, economic, social, so on, and try to think of the potential subtopics and the potential moderate caucuses that might arise, and just go on from there.
Moving on.
So after how to approach your research, a very important aspect, how to organize your research. Because I think the problem with a lot of delegates is that they either research too much, but don't know how to organize the massive binder they have of a lot of printed stuff. And then just get flustered in committee. Or they just read lots of articles, but they don't actually document much. So they usually forget most of the information. They can't utilize it the most effectively. So organizing your research should be something that you will spend a lot of time on. And don't fret if lots of time is being spent on it, because it's actually valuable time. It's a pretty useful investment. So make a research document, Word doc, anything, Google Doc if you're a double del. But in that, what you could do is you could first start with a topic breakdown. I think Nevesh has already covered that in terms of you could use the karma to do that. But the idea basically is you just try to break down the topic into as many small subtopics, and they should try to make it as small as possible. And these could potentially be like your future mods even. And then make a to-do list. Prioritize which of these subtopics are more important than others. Surely there are like 10 or 20 different ways to look at the topic, but all ways perhaps won't be as important. And you can think of priority with respect to what other delegates would want to discuss, what the chair has identified or flagged in the study guide, and then research on those first and make a to-do list. Break them, say that I'll do one small subtopic every 1 or 2 days. And you actually have a structure, a plan to go about your research rather than just researching a bit and not really getting anywhere. What do you do within each subtopic? Keep it simple and keep it short, because otherwise lots of information won't help. So have a few lines, a little bit of information about the basic background information, so you know what you're talking about, a bit of where your country stands, what's your stance, what's your position on the topic, and then just solutions. And you can be extensive in the solutions bit because that's where you'll really be focusing a lot in committee. For example, if you're talking about, let's say, the situation in the Gaza Strip, and then you take a subtopic as the Gaza blockade, you could first talk about what it is in background information, have a few lines on that. Then what's your country's stance on it? Why do they think it's illegitimate if that's the stance? Do you want to refer to any international conventions that perhaps say it's collective punishment? But the main focus there should be solutions, and try to make it practical and pragmatic and stuff that the other side will actually accept. So perhaps solutions regarding how you can partially lift the blockade could work. And then the last thing I just like to have is like a segment on random facts towards the end, something I just think are cool, or maybe I can use them, maybe not, but I can't really fit them in any other segment of my research file. Do keep in mind, you only have to document the research you think you'll use to actually speak or helping you draft a solution. There's lots of contextual research you will also do just to help you get an idea of the topic, help you get respect in the unmod, help you answer questions in the unmod. And that's all stuff you don't need to document. You can just read articles and be more well informed.
And while it's obviously really important to make sure that you have sticky notes or some sort of printed research, which is minimal, but to the point, following all of this, it is really important to also have printed research on you at all times.
For sure.
Moving on. So as I said before, your study guide is an important tool, but it's not the only tool. You're going to need a lot of other sources that can be academic and they need to be verified. Why is that? Because when you stand up in a committee and talk about facts and statistics, there are chances that your chair is going to verify them because your block will be made on that, your stance is going to be made on that. For that, you can use 3 to 4 things that SN and I thought were important. Firstly, you can use verified articles, you can use conventions, you can use speeches of representatives, you can also use UN reports. Now, all of this can be found on different websites, but a few websites, like I said, the verified ones can be bestdelegate.com. This is something that we've been using since 4 to 5 years ago. Since then, they update information on that and they make sure that it's verified and it's not fake. Secondly, MUN Diplomat, if this is your first MUN, go on to MUN Diplomat, experiment around with different features there. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं उधर that is going to be useful if you're just a first time and you have a lot of questions that you're embarrassed to ask anybody else, even though we're here for that. Lastly, to make sure that your information is correct and you're not saying something that's going to harm you later, use the UN website. So UN.org is going to give you all the statistics, all the facts, and everything a country has been doing up to date from its history. And anything else?
I think you can also use UN resolutions to get an idea on that particular topic, but you have to be careful here because UN resolutions tend to be, like the actual UN resolutions tend to be a little more vague, a little less solution oriented, and a little less detailed than what we expect in an MUN. Perhaps because obviously an MUN is not a perfect simulation of a UN resolution, and obviously in an MUN, you're credited more for focusing on how you can solve the problem rather than the general vague statement that you might make in the United Nations. So do refer to all of those things, but keep in mind that the goal in an MUN is slightly different than the goal in the actual UN. And secondly, UN reports and reports of established bodies extremely important. For example, in a topic regarding cybersecurity, go find the ITU 500-page report that they've written as a guide to developing countries or developed countries. They've already done the work for you. So if you find such reports, it's very useful. But yeah, so types of committees, because we do understand the amount of research required and the type of research required will vary. And we've had a somewhat simple segmentation of committees. So firstly, let's talk about small committees. So ECOSOC, specialized. Here, I do think research is extremely important. So lots of your training should include research sessions. Lots of time should be spent on research, especially breadth of research as well, because you will get the opportunity to speak on multiple moderate caucuses and probably like a vast amount of moderate caucuses will be covered. So you should have like research in terms of information, stance, and solutions for all of those. Devesh?
Which is also an advantage, I believe. Like in smaller committees, you get to speak more. And if you have your research on your side, that's an advantage and you're winning since then. While coming to large committees, GAs like DISEC, it's really, really important to have your facts straight. When I say research, it's not going to be as easy as standing up and saying whatever you can in 1 minute. You have to be specific. You have to tell which UN body you're talking about, which statistic you're talking about. And that is why it's extremely important. SN, you want to speak about crisis committees?
Yeah, but before that, on large, just to break this one perception that you don't need to research for large committees, please do research. You really do have to research for large
Really
committees.
important. Yeah.
And one, because you really need to get lots of support in the unmod, especially if it's a double delegate large committee. But you'll probably have lots of unmodding and lobbying in large committees generally. And there, people do often gravitate towards the person who they think can help them phrase their points, who they think actually knows what's going on in the first place, or who can point out crucial questions as to why their framework might not work. So being that person in terms of perception really helps. But also, research in terms of large should also be geared towards finding a few really unique but realistic solutions which you can tie your identity around. And the breadth isn't as perhaps important as the depth and the uniqueness here, because you won't get lots of chances to speak, but the few chances you do get, you can try to sneak in the one major solution you're bringing that actually you can make a block around that can be your block's identity.
That helps you stand out.
That can be your identity. So that's a slight difference as to how you're going to research from small and large. For crisis committees, largely speaking, it does depend on what the chair has in mind and how they communicate in the study guide, but try to get as much contextual information as possible. We will be uploading another video specific to crisis committees from people who have done more of those, so they could perhaps cover research there as well.
All right, coming to common mistakes, now we pointed out 4 common mistakes. Firstly was unrealistic and unimplementable solutions. What do we mean by that? So if there's a problem and you can't really see a solution for that, please don't stand up and say, we'll make a separate UN body for that. Now that's something unrealistic. UN bodies already exist, UN committees already exist. That's just an example. Or like standing up and saying that every country in this committee will donate 5% of their GDP to solve their problem. That's not something that's going to happen. Nobody's going to agree to that. So these are just solutions that you may sound different when you say it. That is not something that you should go for. Secondly, using frameworks is really, interesting. It's important. It helps you stand out. Something that you've used on day one. If people remember it on the last day, that's great. But do not use your every solution oriented speech. Do not make frameworks in each and every one of them, specifically like in committees like SOCOM and UNDP, everyone will be doing that. In order to stand out, do not use that tactic. Chairs usually get annoyed and aapko like koi yaad nahi rakhega is tarike se, and that's a trick that people think works but usually ends up not working for them. SN?
Yeah, so we've already talked about printing too much or too little documentation. It should just be your research file, perhaps your study guide as well, just to refer. But your research file, that should be the Word document that we're talking about, which is as concise as possible. And obviously, like not doing enough research. And it's something that lots of people do think they can get by with. And at times it works, but research is really key, really helps. And one way to look at it is just try to make sure that your solutions just marginally improve what's happening. You don't have the burden to save everything and change the world. Those are all going to be like solutions that are not feasible. And also do think about how the rest of your committee will react to your solutions. Because if you have a brilliant solution, but you know from before that everyone will hate it because of their stance, then it won't do much, unfortunately. So do think of solutions that are practical, but also can be negotiated on. With that, I think that's it from our end. It was hopefully some of these tips helped. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to either one of us. You can comment below. If you have any ideas for new videos, for sure, do let us know in the comments. Mevish?
Reminders that there are no stupid questions. There are no bad questions. If you're a first timer, we're here for you. No judgments, just help. Thank you so much.